This is rice, and today we're gonna learn how to cook it. Everyone seems to have an opinion about how to cook rice, but I'm just gonna break it down as simply as what makes sense to me. We're gonna go over to this area that I don't normally go over to because it doesn't make as much sense with the camera, but well, welcome to my kitchen. It's a little messy right now because we're currently recovering from the Texas storms where we lost power and water for like 9 days. So, welcome to the kitchen. It's messy, I don't care. But it's gonna make a lot more sense because the induction burner just doesn't, it's just really hot and it's hard to cook rice in. So we're gonna use the stovetop. And this is the rice I'm gonna use. It's sushi rice. Just because it's sushi rice doesn't mean you have to make sushi with it. But I just think it tastes great. It's my favorite rice. Before I do all of this part, I just wanna talk real quick. People always talk about how you don't need to measure your rice and you should just do these tricks with your knuckles and your hands, and like, you can do that. Rice does not have to be precise down to the gram. But I find that when you're switching rices regularly, measuring by the instructions is the best way to go. Because basically, all rices just cook slightly differently. The manufacturer probably knows best, so let's just follow their instructions, right? So as you can see, there are instructions on here. It tells me that this needs 1.5 cups of rice and 2 cups of water, and I'm a nerd and I just convert everything to grams. So here's my scale with a little bowl. Laundry's done. And 1.5 cups of rice is gonna be 270 grams. We've got our rice. Now we're gonna wash the rice. It's covered in starch. Sometimes rice gets a little dirty. It's just gonna help make better rice. So let's go wash it. Take our rice and fill up the bowl. You can see that the water is super cloudy. That's all starch and whatever else we don't want. And then I'm just gonna take my strainer. This is really the only strainer that I use. It's kind of fancy. So that's one rinse. Here we go, round 2. And just move it around. Still kind of cloudy. Drain it. And then this one should probably be our last rinse. After not having water for 10 days, this is, it's kind of funny to be able to use water like this again. So you can kind of tell the water is significantly clearer. It's still got a little bit of cloud in it, but that should be it. All right, so we have our rinsed rice. This now weighs 300 grams. We started with 270 grams. That means that the rice has absorbed 30 grams of water. At this point, I would normally add 470 grams of water, but because we've absorbed 30, 470 minus 30, you didn't know you were coming to a math lesson today. 470 minus 30 is 440, so let's add 440 grams of water. And as you can see, clearer than it was when we started, right? Over to the stovetop we go. Rice goes on the stovetop and we're gonna bring this up to a boil. We are at a boil, so I'm going to cover this up and crank the heat down. And now let's start a timer. We're gonna let that go for 15 to 20 minutes. See you then. So we're coming up on 15 minutes. I feel like most rices say to do 15 minutes. This package says 20, but here's a good way to check. Lift it up and kind of look around and see if there's still any water in here. One of the advantages to having a, what's it called, see-through top. Anyway, there's a little bit more water, so we'll let it go for a few more minutes. It's been 18 minutes. I'm calling it. We're killing the heat. And then just as kind of a fun thing to do, it's not really that fun, but whew, look at that. Steamy boy. Throw a towel in there to help collect some of the steam and not let all the moisture fall back into the rice. And now we're just gonna let that sit off the heat for at least 10 minutes, and you could let it go longer if you wanted. Now we're just gonna fluff this rice right up. And now if you're ready to eat this now, you can eat it now.
Just perfect.
If you don't want to eat it now, just throw this bad boy back on. And now you got rice.